Hey, I'm going to show you how to make white radish turnip cake in this video. So the main ingredient is obviously white radish. So we use some dried mushrooms, but feel free to use fresh ones. We have dried shrimp, and we're going to use a whole bag of rice flour. There's some scallions and some Chinese sausage. You can tailor this to the vegetarians by forgetting the meat and adding more vegetables if you want. So white radish is also known as turnip, which is also known as daikon. The first thing you want to do is you want to give it a quick rinse and then peel the skin off of each piece. I believe we're working with about 5 pounds worth of white radish here. Once it's washed and peeled, you're going to want to get a grater and just grate all of these into a big bowl. This is going to be a lot of work. This is to give you an idea of what it looks like afterwards, how finely grated it was. You can see there are somewhat long strands. Before we start cooking, let me show you all of the ingredients. So there are the dried mushrooms soaked in water until it's soft. There's the chopped up Chinese style sausages. We also soaked the dried shrimp so that it would be soft, maybe about half an hour. We have some scallions. And those are all the main ingredients. Okay, let's get started with cooking. So heat up your pot or your pan, add a little bit of oil, and the first thing we're going to cook are the Chinese style sausages. We're also going to add in the drained mushrooms and the drained shrimp as well. Give that a stir and let it cook for a few minutes. You want to make sure you keep stirring so nothing gets too charred or burned. Alright, now we can add in the white radish or the turnip. We added a little bit and stirred, and a little bit more and stirred, but you can throw it all in at once if you want, whatever is easier. But you just want to make sure you mix everything well and even so that the distribution is balanced. Alright, now it's time for the rice flour. You may have noticed while this is cooking there's some juice or water accumulating. This is where the rice flour will come in. We're going to eventually work the whole bag in there, but you might want to do it like a quarter of a bag at a time and mix it, and then add some more and mix it, and so on and so forth until you finish. The rice flour will definitely absorb all of the wetness in your pot. So here's an example of me adding more rice flour into the mix. As you can see, it can get somewhat dry, but if needed you can add some water. In our video we actually added maybe a tad too much water, but you want it to be like a gooey, pasty type of consistency. You'll see it in the video. Alright, so this is what it should look like when you're done. It's not too dry, not too wet. Alright, now we're going to lightly oil 2 pans because we're going to transfer the mixture into these pans and steam it. Alright, now it's time to fill up these steaming trays with the mixture. Depending on the size and the depth of these trays, the cooking time can vary, but you can get a good idea of how large our trays are, and I can tell you it took us about 45 minutes to about an hour. A good way to test it is to poke a chopstick in there or something and test it to see if anything is still sticking to the chopstick or not. If it is, then it's probably not cooked yet. Alright, as you just saw, we also made a second batch that has scallions in it. So some people might not like scallions and some might like it. So it's very flexible. You can add whatever ingredients you want. and this is what it should look like before it goes into the steamer. So we actually don't have a steamer, so this is how we're doing it. We'll just bring some water to a boil. We have that little metal thing there, and then we put the food in and we'll cover it for 45 to an hour. So after it cooks, you can eat it right away, or you can do what we did. What you see here is we let it sit for quite a bit of time after it finished cooking because we want to pan fry it. Because we greased it, it should be easy to get this out by turning the pan upside down, giving it a tap, and there it is. Let me cut it open so you can see what it looks like in the middle. So now all you got to do is cut this down into smaller slices, and then you can pan fry it in a pan or wok or whatever you have. Here's how we fried it. Just keep in mind, the thicker you cut it, it might take a little longer to heat up in the middle if it's coming out of a fridge or something like that. You want to fry it until it's slightly brown on both sides, and then you're ready to eat it. So turnip cake on its own doesn't really have a lot of flavor, but the most common sauces people use are sriracha sauce and hoisin sauce. You can also use soy sauce too if you want. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to see more.